Hi everyone, hope you're all safe and well. Thank you for joining today's focus group webinar on developing customer insight with Zoho CRM. This is the second part of a series of webinars that we've been having over the last couple of weeks. Our previous webinar was on segmentation and marketing attribution. Today, we'll be discussing some of the new exciting features in CRM such as Webform Analytics, A/B testing, Cohort and Quadrant Analysis. I'm Kaushik. I'm the regional community manager for Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. I'm from the community team, and I also happen to be an expert on Zoho CRM as well. I will take you through today's session. With me, we have Roshni and Shravani, our panel of experts from the CRM product management team. Feel free to post your questions in the chat section. Our panel of experts here will answer your questions during the session. I would suggest you to go ahead and ask all your questions because not every day are you going to get a hold of a CRM expert, right? And in order to ensure seamless connectivity and clarity, this part of the webinar has been pre-recorded. If you have any issues during the session, please let us know. We'll try to fix this as soon as possible for you. Now, before we go further, let's check out today's agenda. First, we'll start with an introduction to Webform Analytics and A/B testing, and also how they work and function in your CRM. We will then take you through Cohort and Quadrant Analysis, these new features that will help you identify trends and patterns from your CRM data. Finally, we'll wrap up the session with a question and answer session. So let's get started. Web forms. Web forms are an indispensable component for any business website. It is one of the most important tools for lead generation. Apart from providing a convenient medium for clients to interact with businesses, a well-designed web form makes for a good user experience and also help boost the submission rate and increase your sales as well. It is important to remember that user experience not only indicate the visual appeal or the visual aspects, but also the level of details collected from your web forms. Sign-up forms that are too lengthy or ask too much personal information is often the most common loophole in an otherwise effective lead campaign. Now, research suggests that 5% of the people who are filling the forms will drop off if they are asked to give details about their phone number. Also, more than 81% of them stop filling the forms if they feel that it is complicated or requires too much data. As the goal of the web form is to optimize submission rate, extra care must be taken to ensure that the form fields are relevant and aligns with your business requirements. As submission rates have a direct bearing on your bottom line, it is important to have a system in place to track and measure the effectiveness of web forms. Webform Analytics and Webform A/B testing, the two new features around web forms will help you do just that. Webform Analytics. Zoho CRM Webform Analytics helps you to track, analyze, and optimize the performance of your web forms. To understand how this feature works, let's take the example of a new product launch. You have created a website and added a web form for people to sign up for your new product. This form is the first important step for lead generation. So it is important to track and measure the performance of the sign-up form and to keep the submission rates at an optimal level. With Webform Analytics, you can measure the effectiveness of the sign-up forms by analyzing the data of the people who fill up the forms. You can get a breakup of a country-wise submission using the Zoho CRM Webform Analytics. You can also get key insights on the number of visits to web form conversion and also, more importantly, drop percentages. You can also get insights on form-wise submission and drop rates. If you're using more than one web form, businesses usually have more than one web forms in their web page. For example, take the case of a software product. You will have forms catering to different needs like contact us, get code, and etc. It is important to see which of these forms works best for your business. You can also map the form data with your key CRM metrics, get the form-wise breakup of the number of leads received, how much of those leads have been converted, and how many have deals associated to them. As it is directly tied with your CRM data, you get to know the revenue associated with each of your web forms. You get data on all the vital factors that impact your web form submission and go all the way till mapping them with your revenue. This helps you get a holistic picture of your CRM, of your web form performance. Before we get into a demo on web form analytics, let us look at the common terminologies used in a web form analytics. Visits. Visits give information on the number of times a web form is viewed. Unique visitors, as the name says, excludes the count of recurring visitors. Starters show the number of visitors who are visiting the web form for the very first time. Submission gives information on the number of forms submitted. This is further divided into a partial submission, which gives you the information of the forms submitted with missing field details. Complete submission, on the other hand, captures the count of forms fully filled and submitted. Lastly, conversion rate shows the information on the percentage of submissions from the total number of visits. So far, we looked at the importance and their components of the web form. Now let us see how to create a web form and implement it in your Zoho CRM account. Once you log in to your CRM account, click on Setup on the top right. We call it the wrench icon as well. Now, web forms are listed under developer space here. So under developer space, you can click on web forms. Now click on the new form option shown on the right top. Here I'm going to enter the name as a sign up form. And I'm going to select the module as leads because I want to capture new leads for my CRM account. And you can hit create. Here you can add new fields, remove fields, make a field as mandatory, or even hide a field. I'm going to show you how to go ahead and remove a field now. You can click on the bin icon and the field will be removed. Now, if I want to add a new field, I have all the options and I'm just going to drag and drop the email field here. And also you can click on the settings icon next to the email field. And here you'll have an option to mark a field as required. And I can click on save. So this will make the email field a mandatory field while filling up the form. I can also make the lead source as a hidden field so that the website visitor will not be able to see this field, but I can track which source I'm getting this lead from. So I'm going to make this field a lead source as a hidden field. We also have advanced CAPTCHA. I'm going to go ahead and use a standard CAPTCHA here. This is to make sure that your web form is more secure and to avoid having spam or junk leads submitted on your web form. So you can click on preview if you want to preview the web form. This is how your web form is going to look like. And you can click on next. In this section, this is what we call it as a form details. You can fill the form details such as the URL, where the form is to be hosted, its landing page, and etc. I'm typing the URL here as product.com or Zilker. So Zilker is my company, so I'm going to go ahead and enter Zilker.com. And landing page is nothing but if once a form is submitted, it'll be redirected to another page saying, hey, thank you for submitting. We'll reach you shortly. So that is what we call it as a landing page. If you do not have it, you can enter the same as your form location URL. Now we also have another option called assignment rule. Now using the assignment rule, you will be able to go ahead and assign the assign the leads to respective owners based on a particular criteria. Now, let's say you have users from the leads that are coming from North America, Australia, or Asia. You are a global company. So if you have a sales rep that is handling Australia, then all the leads that come from Australia will be assigned to the respective sales rep that handles the Australia region. If a lead fills out the form from America, North America, then the respective sales rep who handles North American region will receive the leads. You can go ahead and choose any criteria you want based on any product as well. You also have the option to go ahead and assign equal number of records to the users using the round robin feature. You can also go ahead and click on notify lead owner. Using this option, the person who's the owner of this particular lead will receive an email notification. You can also have the acknowledge visitor option enabled. Now I'm going to click on save, and I have here the source code. This is what we call it as a source code of the web form. We can copy this code and embed it on your website. So once you go ahead and save this code and embed it on your website, the integration is done between Zoho CRM and your website. Now that the web form is created, let's see how you can use Webform Analytics to track and measure its performance. The overall analytics gives you a holistic information on the performance of all your web forms. With this, you can analyze the place where it drops, the overall conversion rate, and each component's conversion rate. And further, you can compare the web forms in a module to identify which is the successful one. You can also filter the analytics data further to weekly, monthly, or yearly data. Here you have the option to go ahead and filter them based on weekly or days or yearly data as well. You can click on more stats. This will give you a detailed view, such as a geo-specific analytics, revenue generated by web forms, and so on. This way you get to view the maximum conversion and drop rate for various web forms. While hovering over the graph of a web form, it displays the number of visits, starters, submission, and the conversion rates. You can hover the mouse over any of the web form and it's going to show you a complete detail of all the complete details of a web form and also its conversion rate. You also get insights on the performance of your web forms from different geography, such as the top contributed countries and geo-specific submissions. You can examine the number of leads created and those subsequently converted to deals as well. So here you can see the top country is India. If you have leads submitting from various different countries, you'll be able to see it on the map as well. Here you'll also be able to see which leads have been converted to leads and deals based on the web form. All the way from a lead being created to a deal being closed, the data will be shown in this particular place. You also are able to analyze the revenue contributed by multiple forms and draw a comparative result on the current and previous revenue to estimate the growth rate. Apart from this view, we also have individual analytics for each web form. Once you go ahead and click on a view analytics option button next to the web form, you'll be able to view a complete analytics of that particular web form as well. This is an overall analytics of all your web forms combined. But if you want to go ahead and view an individual web forms analytics, you can click on the view analytics option that is shown on the right side. So here I'm going to click on view analytics for this particular web form, and it'll show a complete analytics of this particular download form web form in my CRM. It shows a total of 15 submissions and region and also leads on the top. So here under form submissions, you can see a total of 15 submissions. On an average, I have 8 submissions per day. It can also show me what are the visits, who are the unique visitors, starters as well. We can also see a partial versus complete submission and view the data based on a daily, weekly, or monthly criteria as well. Here in this option, you have a region. Once you select this, you'll be able to see how many leads are submitting data from different regions in a global map. Here you can see I have one number of countries submitted. If you have 20, it'll list here, and it's also automatically going to show you which is the top country as well. In this section of the leads, it's going to show you overall leads created. So I have leads created 3, and out of that, one of those leads have been converted. I have 15 submissions, 0 duplicate records, and validations are none. So I have 6 leads that have been converted out of a total of 15 leads that have been submitted in total. I can also again filter this on the top right based on a criteria. It's a weekly or monthly or a quarterly criteria as well. The above graph that you see is only from 9th September to 20th September, but overall the number of leads submitted is 15. I can also see a lead conversion report here on what is the percentage of leads being converted versus leads being created. You can also see the deals created via leads. If you get 15 leads, out of those 5 have deals created with them, and what are those stats? You'll be able to view them under this section here. You'll also see how much revenue that have been generated via this particular leads. These are the analytics that you'll be able to see for individual web forms in your Zoho CRM account. If you have any questions on Webform Analytics, feel free to ask our experts. Would be delighted to answer them during this session. Now let's go ahead and look at Webform A/B testing. Let's see how to optimize your web form and boost conversion. Making the changes in a live version is always tricky, and any pitfalls impact your revenue. Webform A/B testing help you ideate and iterate what works best for your web forms. Let me explain how this works. We generally do an A/B testing for our web pages, emails, and app campaigns to figure out what works best for a business. A/B testing is used to experiment with a smaller sample by showing 2 different versions to find out which version works best and deploy that best version for the larger audience. Webform A/B testing works just the same. Say you want to add some new fields to your sign up form. With A/B testing, you can easily create variants to the original form, find the most successful variant, and deploy them globally. Now let's go ahead and create a Webform A/B testing. Now let's create and launch A/B testing. Next to your web forms, you'll see the A/B testing option, or create an A/B testing by clicking on the create A/B testing option next to new form. Once you click on create A/B testing, you'll be prompted to go ahead and enter a name for that A/B testing. So I'm going to enter the test name as sign up form. Sign up form, and here I'm going to choose which web form do I want the A/B testing for, and I'm going to click it as a sign up form as well. Click on create. You'll now see the original form and its variants. You can't make any changes to the original form. but the variation you'll be able to make any changes. Also, please remember that you'll be able to create only two variants for a form. This is the first variation. I'm going to change the alignment of the form. So here I would be able to go ahead and click on the alignment, and I'm changing the alignment the way they appear. And I'm also going to go ahead and change the background color of this web form. So this is a variant of the same form itself. And I click on apply. Here you'll also be able to click on the plus icon to go ahead and click on the second variant. In the second variant, I'm going to go ahead and add the mobile number field. So I can drag and drop the mobile number field onto the web form builder. And I can go ahead and add the number of employees field into the web form as well. So I can drag and drop the number of employees field. So I have the original form, the variant 1 with different alignment and colors, and then variant 2 with different types of fields. Similarly, you can make changes such as adding or removing fields or changing buttons as well. You'll also be able to view the history of modifications in the View Changes section. Once you click on this, you'll be able to see all the changes that are done, and you also have the option to revert any changes or undo any changes that you have made. After creating the variants, you can click on the next option that you see on the top right and click next, and you will be able to see a pop-up to configure the A/B testing. So you can set the percentage of traffic that should participate in the test. I'm going to set it as 50. If 100 people visit the form, only 50 will be able to participate in the A/B testing. Split the visitors and drive them to the respective forms. I'm fine with the defined split ratio. Set the duration of the test. I want to end once 100 visitors have participated in the test. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a criteria, or I'm going to specify after 100 visitors in this case. Finally, when everything is configured, we can go ahead and click on A/B testing. I'm also checking the option to notify me the A/B testing winner through an email so that I don't have to come here and check. Okay, now the A/B testing has been created. You'll also be able to view a complete data view or stats of your A/B testing. So once you click on view results, you'll be able to compare the results and the conversion rate, improvement in conversion rate, and measure the difference in conversion between the different types of variations that you have created. Using in-depth field-wise analysis, you can analyze the original variant forms at the field level. Through this, you can ascertain the fields that contribute to the drop rate. Once the A/B test is completed and the winner is declared, you can launch the successful variant as the final version of your web form to improve your conversion rate. So in this case, I have the original form and variant 1 that are primary, and variant 1 is the winner here in this particular testing. Now let's look at cohort analysis. To augment the power of analytics in Zoho CRM, we've added two new features, cohort analysis and quadrant analysis. First, let's see cohort. Cohort analysis helps group data having shared characteristics or experience with a specific time span. Each group is referred to as a cohort and has something in common which is used as a grouping parameter. Let's take the example of a product launch. To spread the word about your product, you run different campaigns, like paid ads in different channels. To measure the return of investment of different campaigns, you will have to study the behavior of customers sourced through different campaigns and different channels. By grouping the leads that you have received from different sources, cohort analysis helps you to get conclusive insight on each of the channel that works best for you. Using cohort, you can segment your customers into different groups based on a parameter and analyze the behavior of each group. You can understand your customer trends better and pitch the product at the right time. You can leverage cohort analysis to capture the effectiveness of your marketing as well. Using cohort, you'll also be able to analyze your customer retention rate. As a famous saying, acquiring a new customer costs at least 5 times more than retaining an existing customer. Cohort analysis helps you get definitive insights to strategize your customer engagement and retention. Before we go ahead and configure cohort analysis, now let us look at the type of cohorts in detail. First, let's start with basic. Like every other type, so we have basic, standard, and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and start with basic. Basic or time-based cohort helps in understanding your customer buying trends by analyzing their purchase patterns on weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. For example, run a cohort to analyze the number of customers who have signed up for your product in a particular time frame and study their behavior in isolation. Analyzing time-based cohorts helps in determining the churn rate for your company. So you can easily identify the reasons on what is going good and what is not. You can identify your anomaly. Next, we have the standard type. Standard or segment-based cohorts help in understanding what your customer are looking for by leveraging deeper insights about a segment's interest, their buying pattern or behavior. This method uses a standard or a custom pick list field such as industry type, product category, lead source, lead status, and so on as grouping parameter. This lets you do more personalized and relevant marketing campaigns. For example, run a cohort to analyze which marketing channel brought more leads and how many leads are being converted to deals and what are their retention rate. Let's say, for example, 200 new leads were generated from a LinkedIn campaign, out of which 100 leads closed in 1 week with a better conversion rate, and the rest closed in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, respectively. But with a lesser conversion, this pattern clearly indicates that the LinkedIn ad conversion is better with records which are 1 week older. This lets you offer a this offers you a tailor-made pitch for each segment by understanding and identifying the need of each segment. Advanced cohort, there's the other type of cohort. We saw basic, standard, and now advanced. Advanced cohort offers a combination of basic and standard cohorts. It lets you use the dates or dimensions as the parameter. In addition, you can also add additional metrics that gives you a holistic results of the data in cohort. For example, the revenue generated from all the deals closed in a particular quarter or particular time frame or a particular industry. So now let's go ahead and see how to create a cohort. Let's look at how to go ahead and create. So let's go ahead and look at how to create a cohort analysis dashboard. So when you log into your CRM account, you have a dashboard module, click on add component. And here you have two new options. Select cohort analysis. So I'm selecting cohort now. And here I have a basic and standard stack. I'm going to select standard. So once I select standard, here are the components that I have to name. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the component name as ROI calculation. Select the module as leads, as we already discussed. In the case of a standard cohort, group based on a pick list field. So let's choose source as the pick list field in this case. So I'm selecting the module as lead, and I'm going to click on by industry or lead source. And here I'm going to select count of leads versus maximum of annual revenue. Now in the duration, or you can use the criteria filter if you want to include only the records matching a certain criteria instead of all records. So I'm going to set the time span here as the duration as created time and last activity time. So this is going to be from the lead created to the last activity of the lead itself. Now I'm going to enter the duration as month. And what is the duration range? I'm going to enter as 5 to 10 months or 1 to 5 months. Now you can check if your component is correct, and we can go ahead and click on save. So once I save, here I will have the ROI calculation showing me the data in real time. Now, since we have done with cohort analysis, now we are moving on to the other component of the dashboard, that is quadrant analysis. Now, quadrant analysis helps you plot your CRM data scattered across 4 quadrants. While traditional reports are usually unidimensional, quadrant analysis adds a new dimension to your analysis. In traditional reports, two separate bar charts are used to plot the total revenue and number of deals closed by your sales reps, respectively. With quadrant analysis, you can bring all the data in one graph split across 4 different quadrants. Say, for example, a quadrant based on the number of deals closed and total revenue plotted across 4 quadrants will help you find which of your sales rep close more low value deals. Now, this is an important one, right? You want to know which are the users who are closing more deals and who are closing the less number of deals. Which of them closed less number of deals but still brought in more revenue due to the deal size, due to the amount or the deal being of more value. The next, which of your sales rep are doing on both the deal count and revenue at the same time? It will also help you find out which of your sales rep need to improve on both the deal count and revenue as their numbers are low. So these are the things that quadrant analysis will help you find out. Quadrant analysis is a powerful tool that transforms complex and high volume data into simple, straightforward, and comprehensive framework. Now, quadrant analysis caters and visually represents data for relevant quadrants. It also helps you build a simple correlation between this. For example, in the deal count versus associated revenue analysis, you get to know the correlation between revenue and number of deals closed for the individual sales rep. Quadrant analysis also helps you identify areas that need improvement and helps you to focus on them accordingly. Before we go ahead and create a or configure a quadrant analysis, let us look at the types of quadrants. Now, just like cohort, we also have a different type of quadrants, and let's start off with standard. With standard quadrant, you can visualize data by comparing the number of products sold to product in high demand. With this, with this data, you can generate a purchase order proactively and also identify the least selling product and the reasons why it is not doing so well. In the We have the advanced type of quadrant, and in the advanced type of quadrant we have, you can group the data and shown in appropriate sizes depending on the value of the metrics you want to see. This is an additional parameter, and it is a metric not same as x-axis or y-axis. For example, you can run a quadrant analytic to identify the business segment that brings in more revenue for your business. Now let's go ahead and see how to create a quadrant analysis from scratch. And how to create a quadrant analysis from scratch. Now once you log into your crm.zoho.com, you have the dashboards module, and you also have add components. Now click on add component, and instead of cohort, this time we're going to select quadrant. And we have two types of quadrant style. I'm going to select the advanced in this case. And I'm going to enter the name as revenue generated by sales reps, by sales reps, and I'm going to select the module as deals. And I'm selecting the grouping as created by. In advanced quadrant, you have the option to measure the group data. I'm selecting the count of deals. You can also choose the values to be presented in x-axis and y-axis. I'm choosing the count of deals and maximum amount in x and y-axis respectively. And you also have benchmark. Benchmark splits the four quadrants by setting a threshold limit for the x-axis and y-axis. Either split equally or set a custom value. I'm splitting it equally and click on save. And now you can see the revenue generated by sales rep. Shavitra has one more number of uh, deals and also revenue, whereas the other users are behind. And you can see the user Henry has only one deal. And so this quadrant that we created shows which deals were closed by users and how much of revenue was generated by each of the reps versus how much of deals they have closed. So with the actionable insights drawn from quadrant analysis, we are able to identify the areas of improvement and focus on refining them to increase performance. To summarize, we looked at Webform Analytics and optimizing web forms using A/B testing to improve conversion rates. We concluded with a demonstration on configuring cohort and quadrant analysis to enhance your business efficiency. We hope you found the session useful. Thank you for joining today's webinar and hope you have a great day.